Hi, this is Nanette Hosenfeld with the Great Basin Fire Potential Briefing for Monday, August 27th, 2018. Looking at fire potential impacts over the next few days, today will be the day that we see the most impacts. Across most of Idaho and western Wyoming, we will see cloudy and showery conditions with much cooler temperatures. Further south, wind gusts will be in the 25 to 35 mile an hour range. By Tuesday, we're not expecting any significant weather, but we are looking at warming and drying across all areas by midweek. Looking at the 72-hour smoke forecast, you can see this morning smoke is in place across the northern part of the Great Basin, but as a cold front moves through the area, that will shift southward, kind of clearing out areas across the northern part of the Great Basin and shifting that smoke further south into the area. Over the past 24 hours, there was not too much in the way of precipitation across the Great Basin. You can see some really light precipitation returns across portions of Idaho and Utah, and no lightning across the Great Basin. As far as fire activity, there was light activity yesterday with several ongoing large fires. Looking at observed precipitation, you can see that over the past 7 days, the majority of the precipitation has been across the eastern part of the Great Basin. Not much in the way of precipitation has fallen across southwestern Idaho or Nevada. Looking back at the 30-day period, things improve a little bit, but it's still been quite dry across southwestern Idaho and the northern half of Nevada. ERCs reflect these precipitation trends quite well. You can see the highest ERCs as far as percentiles are across the northwestern part of the Great Basin, where precipitation has been really spotty. We are expecting to see those ERCs across the far northern part of the area really plummet over the next few days with the lower temperatures and precipitation in the forecast. Just taking a look a little further at the ERCs, you can see from GB8, things have been on the decline over the past week or two. ERCs have recovered a bit over the past few days, but we are expecting those to return to a downward trend with the cooler and wetter weather in the forecast. Looking further south at GB27, things have dried out and ERCs are right around normal and on the rise. As far as live fuel moistures, they are generally at or below normal across the Great Basin. The image on the top right shows the 1,000-hour fuels across southern Idaho. You can see they're a bit below normal. Looking further to the west, the sagebrush sample from western Nevada showed those fuel moistures right around normal for the time of year. The satellite this morning shows that low pressure system in place over Idaho, and that is sending a cold front through the area today. So for today, we are looking at cooler, wetter conditions across the north. You can see that low pressure system along with abundant moisture in place across the north. Further south, we're looking at windy and dry conditions. To look at that in more detail, the image on the left shows our maximum temperature forecast. It'll be quite a drastic cool down for the north. You can see parts of Idaho are looking at high temperatures in the 60s and 70s today, so quite a bit cooler across the north. Moving south, temperatures will be much closer to normal with temperatures in the upper 90s to hundreds across the southern part of the Great Basin. And as far as winds, winds will be elevated as that cold front does make its way through the area. You can see gusty winds expected across a large portion of the Great Basin this afternoon. This new image on the left shows this afternoon's relative humidity forecast. You can see those really high relative humidities forecast across much of Idaho with conditions drier further to the south. Moving into Tuesday, that cold front continues to make its way through the state or through the area. The low pressure system moves out of the Great Basin. You can see quite a few areas on our significant fire potential map have gone green with a cooler and wetter weather across the north. Looking in more detail at the conditions on Tuesday, still quite cool across the north, a bit warmer than what we're expecting today, but still well below normal as far as high temperatures across the northern part of the Great Basin. And as that cold front makes its way south, you can see a little cooler temperatures tomorrow across the central part of the Great Basin. Winds will be decreased significantly tomorrow as that cold front weakens. And looking at relative humidities for tomorrow, still quite high minimum relative humidities across the north tomorrow. As we move into Wednesday, the ridge begins to build over the area. With a high pressure building, we will see temperatures begin to rebound, warming back up across the Great Basin, but still below normal across the north. And winds, for the most part, will be light on Wednesday. those relative humidities will decrease across the north pretty drastically on Wednesday. Over the next 3 days, the majority of the precipitation is expected across Idaho. You can see some pretty healthy amounts in the forecast, over ½ inch across central Idaho. As we move into Thursday, it looks like another system begins to make its way into the Great Basin. We will see winds increase across the south ahead of that approaching system. And on Friday, that continues to make its way into the area. With drier conditions, we are looking at some of those areas across the northern part of the Great Basin, shifting from the green back to the yellow. On Saturday, again, some winds possible across the south with that low pressure system to our northwest. And then on Sunday, models are bringing that system through the Great Basin, which could bring another round of showers and thunderstorms to the north. In a 7-day period, there's a 7-day precipitation map shows the potential for some additional precipitation across the southeastern part of the Great Basin. In the 8 to 14-day period, the Climate Prediction Center is calling for above normal temperatures across the majority of the Great Basin with normal precipitation. So that's it. If you have any questions, please feel free to contact us. Our information is on the screen, and you can find us on Twitter. Thanks.